Hello, I'm Mark Chalero, the owner of MS Classic Cars. Today, I'm sitting behind the wheel of an absolutely beautiful 1968 Chevrolet Corvette Convertible Custom that I have nicknamed Disco Inferno. To start off this presentation here, this is a non-rehearsed video. There's going to be a lot of information that I do forget, so please visit our website at msclassiccars.com for a complete description with tons of beautiful photography. We take great pride in being transparent in our descriptions and also doing amazing photography, so make sure to please check that out. If you have or have not been following MS Classic Cars, you will note that I only collect #1 and #2 condition vehicles. We're very proud that we've done that since inception. We're also the only classic car dealership in the country who services every vehicle we sell. We detail them to the highest level and present them like we're doing here today. With that being said, I do create a new binder, as I've done for this vehicle. New binder, sleeves, and so forth. This includes all of the information that is included with this particular car. The first thing that I always put in the binder is the invoice, which also can be seen in our photo gallery on our website. So please make sure to check that out. This particular vehicle here, as indicated, we totaled $21,855.55 in the total repair and detailing on this car. So, a little bit of history about this particular car. I bought this car in June of 2020. It was a really nice car when I bought it, but like most cars, it really needed to be sorted out. As we started doing some of the mechanical work, we made the decision that we would go above and beyond with it and do another light restoration to the car, which I'll get into in a minute. So we kind of jumped on and kind of jumped off it. Why it was in our service department, we had an extremely busy 2020 and 2021, so this car was not at the top of our priority list, but we finally finished it just a few weeks ago. We're very proud of the way that it came out, and obviously when you look at the photos and you look at everything that there is to see, you will probably agree that this is a really special car that I'm super proud of. So, how did I nickname it Disco Inferno? It's more of a joke than it is anything else, because the color of the car, which is not the original color, clearly it's a Chrysler color. This car was originally painted Corvette Bronze, as indicated on the original trim tag, but during the restoration they painted it this color, and the name of the color is called Inferno Red Pearl. It's an absolutely beautiful color. Again, it's a Chrysler color, I think from 2001 from the information I've gotten. So because of the color, being Inferno, and the fact that this car is super fun. This is a super nice driver. This is a car that someone's going to have a lot of fun with. I figured I'd tie in the Disco, having a good time, to the Inferno, and that's where the Disco Inferno came from. Just thought it would be kind of fun to do so. So to get into obviously the exterior of the car first, the body on this vehicle is very, very straight. If you look down the side of it, they did a really, really nice job on the body. This car was restored between like 2003 and 2010. It was done over the stage of multiple years. Then the gentleman that I bought it from, he had had it for a long time. He had actually driven it, enjoyed it, and so forth before we got it. So what we did on the exterior, we really didn't have to do a lot on the exterior cosmetically. We color sanded the whole car. For anybody that doesn't really know what color sand means, it's a wet sanding process. You start with very fine sandpaper, and basically what you do is you cut through some of the clear coat and so forth. After we wet sanded it, we then compounded it, we buffed it, polished it, and we brought back the paint. The paint looks absolutely beautiful. It truly looks like this car was painted recently. So again, the outside of the car is absolutely spectacular. Everything on the outside of the car was replaced essentially during the restoration and over those years. Starting with the windshield first. This windshield is brand spanking new. It's kind of a tinted windshield. The side glass here, which I can actually roll up in this video, you will see is also slightly tinted. And down in the corner, it says Astro Ventilation. These are the original windows in this particular car, and they're still in very nice condition. All of the stainless trim around the windshield, these beautiful chrome dual mirrors, the molding that's on the bottom of the car, also the front bumpers, the front bumper guards, the rear taillight bezels, the vents that are in the back of the actual deck lid, the antenna, all the lenses, everything was absolutely done beautifully during the restoration. Again, some of it was done a little bit later on. It was done in bits and pieces, but everything presents in absolutely beautiful condition. When the car, again, was in our service department, we made the decision to change the wheels. It had kind of a rally style Corvette wheel that I just didn't feel fit the car right. So what we did is we kind of changed the suspension around a little bit to give it a little bit different ride height, and we added these really nice wheels. These particular wheels here are American Racing. I think they're called VN507s if I'm not mistaken. They're an 18-inch wheel. They're kind of a really nice look for this generation car. Again, this is a C3. The wheels are actually kind of a gloss black in the center, and they have a nice polished lip on the outside. They're wrapped with brand spanking new tires. Again, you can get all the details on our website description if you want to reference all of that. So the outside is in beautiful shape. The top on this car fits really nice. You want to make sure to check it out in our photos. It has a brand new black soft top that folds up nicely. It's tight. You'll see in our photos it doesn't have a ton of wrinkles, which is actually pretty impressive considering that when it was in our service department, most of the time the top was actually down. So this is a car that you can actually leave the top down for a while if you choose to. Put the top up, put it outside in the sunlight, it'll stretch real nice. A lot of times with convertible tops, the minute you put them down and put them up, they're like permanently wrinkled. I think this one held up pretty well considering it was down a lot of the time. Getting into the actual interior, everything in this interior, I would say for the most part, was replaced. There are some little bits of pieces here that are still original to the car. I believe from what I gathered, this was a pretty original car prior to the restoration, so some of the original features were kept in the car and so forth. So again, this interior is absolutely like new. So real quickly, the sun visors are new. They're padded, they don't fall down, they're in really nice shape. Brand new rear view mirror here. It's a black rear view mirror. The dash is free of any cracks. It fits beautifully. There's no warping or anything like that. A lot of the gauges have been restored. I know as an example, if you reference the invoice in this binder, we did put a brand new speedometer in the car. I want to make note of that. So if anybody sees the pictures and they see that the vehicle only has 4 or 5 miles on it. That was actually done at the end. The speedometer broke after we serviced it and we were test driving it. It just broke and then we ended up replacing it. We clearly have put more than 4 miles on it, but in case anybody wants to know, that's the deal with the odometer. But the whole dash is in beautiful condition. Again, all the gauges are in working order. It's in beautiful shape. The door panels are in absolutely beautiful shape. These seats have obviously been recovered. They're super nice to sit on. They're bucket seats. The console obviously has been replaced. I think some of the pieces on the console are probably original just based on what I see here, just a little bit of patina. The carpets have been replaced. What we did at MS Classic Cars to give the car a little bit of character is we changed the steering wheel. I'm a huge fan of these Billet Specialties steering wheels, especially the 14-inch wheels, because what they do is they give taller people more room in the car. If you look back at the original steering wheels that were found in these C3s, they tended to be a little bit larger. So for a guy like me that's 6 foot tall with longer legs, when I sit in this car, that extra inch around the diameter of the steering wheel makes a huge difference. So I now sit in the car comfortably. So we added this, this Formula steering wheel here. It was really cool because what we did is we tied the steering wheel look being black with a little bit of the silver polished accents to the wheels that are on the car. So I think it complements the wheels perfectly. So again, we added that. I also went online and I ordered a custom pair of carpeted black floor mats with the Corvette logo in them, which again just gives the car a little bit of its own flavor. So once again, everything in this interior has been restored or replaced, and it's in super nice condition. Getting into the engine bay, you will clearly see, again in our photos and see in this video, this is where we spent the most time with this car. We legitimately restored the engine compartment, right down to painting the block. Everything basically came out, all the wiring, we cleaned up all of that, the whole radiator support area, you know, everything was obviously painted satin black. We really organized everything. So talking a little bit about the engine first, the engine was actually fully rebuilt back when the car was being restored. I got some bits and pieces of what was done to the engine. It does have quite a few higher performance, well-branded name parts. So you can read that in our website listing to get more information about that, but it's a 327. We figure the horsepower is probably 325, 350 horse. It runs absolutely beautiful. So what we did to the engine compartment in the engine itself is we actually added the black valve covers, again, that say Chevrolet. Same thing with the air cleaner. We put a new carburetor on it. It's got electronic ignition system. It's got a lot of chrome accessories like the water pump, the alternator, the brackets. Some of the hoses, rather than using the factory style or Home Depot style hose clamps, we went with the heat shrink hose clamps, which I thought looked really nice. Again, we cleaned up a lot of the wiring, did a super nice job on this engine bay. This is definitely show quality. The engine bay and the paint on this car is definitely the highlight of the entire car. And this thing, again, it runs awesome. The engine breathes through Doug Thorley ceramic coated headers. Those headers flow into a 3-inch mandrel bent exhaust system. It's a dual exhaust. You can clearly see out the back. It's got the nice mufflers in the back with the tailpipes. They are Flowmaster mufflers, so you get that real American Thunder kind of sound. I thought that was the perfect setup. The engine is actually coupled to a Muncie 4-speed transmission. The transmission was also rebuilt. We took it out. We actually had it gone through and so forth. The transmission shifts absolutely beautiful. One of the other things that we did, which we do on a lot of cars, is we replaced the clutch. We also replaced the flywheel. We could have went with an inexpensive brand like Napa or whatever the case might be, but instead, once again, because at MS Classic Cars, we try to do things to the higher level, we went ahead and purchased a Ram clutch and Ram flywheel. Again, that's more of a high performance setup, which works out great. We also rebuilt the rear end in this car. We added posi, so it's got the Corvette rear end, 8.5. It's a posi setup. So the drivetrain on this car is simply awesome. If you know anything about 327s, they're great motors. This particular one, again, it starts really good. It performs really good. It sounds really good. You're going to hear it in a minute. Talking about the undercarriage of the car, first thing that was done is we repainted the underneath. We kind of freshened up all the parts, made it look pretty. It looks really, really good. It's really, really clean. Proud of the way that it came out. This is definitely not a trailer queen type of vehicle. Again, the first thing in my description that I emphasized was it was a gorgeous car that is restored to be a super nice driver. This is the perfect car for somebody who doesn't want something that's so perfect that they're afraid to drive it. We sell those cars. I take great pride in those kind of cars, but I also take pride in cars like this that somebody can get in and truly enjoy. They still want something at show quality, but they don't want perfection. So it's the perfect car for that. The steering system was completely rebuilt. Before I forget, the car does have power steering. It works really nice. Again, all the suspension system in this car was gone through. It was replaced. The suspension feels real good when you're driving it. I had the pleasure of taking this car around Seekonk when we were finishing our service process and so forth, and I was really impressed by the way that it felt, the way that it drove and handled and everything else. And as far as the brakes are concerned, it does have a manual braking system, but it is four-wheel disc brakes with black calipers. So the car does stop okay. I'm not going to sit here and brag and say the car stops really strong. If somebody gets the car and they feel like they'd rather have power-assisted brakes, they can hire somebody to add power brakes and so forth. But we felt like it was good enough for what it is, and we're very proud of it. So that concludes my video here. I will make a comment on how this car starts. So the other day, when we were doing our photos of the car, because the headlights are vacuum operated, the car has to be running. So Corey Smiley, who actually does our photos and video now and so forth, jumped in the car and started it. And I swear before the key was in the on position, the car started, and when it starts, it sounds awesome. You would think that this thing has a big block in it just because it's got a nice, perfect cam. It's got a great sound out those headers and out that 3-inch exhaust. So I thought it would be a great idea today. Hopefully my idea doesn't backfire on me here. We have not started this car in a few days since we actually did those photos. So I'm going to do a cold start right now for you. And hopefully it goes smooth, which I'm sure it will. But I wanted to make sure to make note of that to show you how good this car runs with a cold start. Just be prepared when I start it. If you hear the idle go a little high, that's the way that we've tuned it, and the way we've dialed it in is for the idle to obviously go high when the engine is cold, like all cars do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget. Please sign up for our VIP email blast if you have not done that. That's the best way to follow MS Classic Cars. We have thousands of people on our email blast. Please follow us on social media. In closing, I will say one thing. If you do go on our website, you notice that we don't have a lot of available inventory. It's simply because the business is much bigger than we are internally. We are, again, the only classic car dealership in the country that goes through these vehicles like we do. We stand behind them when we sell them. We're doing great things, but to do that takes a lot of time, a lot of manpower, and it's a long process. So we only can get about 8 to 10 cars a month done through our service department. So when you do see a car come up for sale, like this car, you gotta jump on it because our cars just don't last. Okay, so gonna go ahead and start it. Listen how beautiful it runs. Gonna go ahead and pump it a few times, turn the key, and hope for the best. Can't make that up, baby. High idle. I'm gonna kick it down. Look at that. It's at its next step in the carburation. It runs absolutely beautiful. Thanks again for watching. Rock and roll, baby.